All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine. Going to be getting into the Zurich Classic picks here and just the breakdown of the tournament, which should be a fun and interesting event. But first, guys, before we get into that, I would appreciate if you're new to the channel, subscribe. It's only going to help yourself. And then if you guys are just watching this video, give a like. That helps out the channel. I do appreciate that. But just looking at the Zurich Classic, I mean, this is an interesting event. We got 160 players in the field. This is a big event, okay? But there are 80 teams, so obviously it's a team event. Only 33 of the teams will make the cut. And I needed to confirm that because I've seen in two different spots on PGA Tour.com, it's either 33 or 35 teams. So just got to confirm that, whatever. Not a lot of teams make the cut, which does make this a very interesting event. If you do get 6 for 6 across the cut line, it is going to be a good week for you. Just talking about the DK side of it, so you only are allowed one player per team. Okay, that is very crucial. So after this video gets posted, I'm going to go to the 9 to 5 projections for the lineup builder, for the lineup optimizer, and I'm going to just make a 0 on one of the players in the team for each team. Okay, that's just going to make it a lot easier for building lineups and whatnot. That's just going to make that lineup process so much more easier. You don't even have to worry about that other player potentially pulling into your lineup. So that is going to be something I do. We got 2-time winners here at the Zurich Classic. Billy Horschel won it once as an individual, also won it once as a team event. We got Cameron Smith, who shockingly has won it twice. He won it once with Jonas Blitz. That's a name we haven't heard in a while. And Mark Leishman, okay? So, he's a pretty popular name there. The kind of style format is going to be foursomes and 4-ball, okay? Kind of confusing for those of you guys that are not familiar with it. So 4-ball is going to be played in rounds 1 and round 3. That is going to be the best score. So each golfer is going to play their own golf ball, and they're just going to take the best score from those guys, okay? Then the other side of it is going to be foursomes. Once again, names are stupid there, but it's going to be alternating. So a golfer is going to hit a drive, then the other golfer is going to hit the chip, and then the golfer that hit the drive would then hit the next shot. So it's just, player A gets shot 1 and 3, player B gets shot 2 and 4. Okay, and that's going to be played in rounds 2 and 4. This is going to be a Pete Dye course design. Okay, Bermuda greens. There are a ton of bunkers, decent amount of water hazards, about 8 in play. It does measure as a longer track. The interesting thing is that the wind is projected to get really gusty. Right now we're seeing winds of up to 15 plus mile per hour winds. As you guys know, once it gets over 15 mile per hour winds, that's when it really does start to affect the scoring. So we might actually be pulling in that a little bit more. Talking about course history, key stats, and whatnot, I do really think that there is something to course history. Players that play well in match play tournaments and kind of just these, I mark them as alternative field events on 9 to 5 Sports, they tend to play better just in general. So like a guy like, probably a poor example, but like Kevin Kisner, he's a guy that kind of plays better in these fun events, alternative events, if you will. But talking about key stats, we don't really have key stats per se for this tournament. Strokes gained data is not there for us. And some of the other ones like the Keim Classic and whatnot, we don't have that for this. So what we do is we just go to the general stats then. We look at effective scoring, that 9 to 5 stat. We look at strokes gained differential, strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained total, like par 5 scoring, birdie to bogey ratio. We just look at those general stats. Obviously, strokes gained approach, I always kind of want to look at that, but we just look at those general stats to get a good feel of the golfer's play heading into this event. So that's what we're going to be focused on, just the general stats, because all in all, this is a tournament in which you got to be setting up yourself and your partner for success, and that is what we're going to be focusing on. I do want to get into kind of a fun segment here. What is kind of the breakdown of the Zurich Classic, okay? And what I mean by that is, it's kind of like in high school or in college, you're playing beer pong, okay? So let's say you're partnering up. There's kind of 4 different styles of choosing a partner. Let's just start with the fun one, okay? The hot girl, okay? You're partnering up with the hot girl. She's having fun. She's excited to play with you because, I'm a stud. We're using myself as an example. She's excited. She thinks she's going to, get lucky. She knows she's probably going to get a win. Myself, I'm excited to play well. Hot girl, you're just going to tend to try to play a little bit better, try to impress her a little bit more, if you will. So you end up playing pretty well. She's blowing on your balls. You're sinking shots. Everything's going good. You're getting hot. You're having fun. That's kind of like Ryan Palmer teaming up with John Rahm last year, Jordan Spieth the year before that, and now Scottie Scheffler. Okay, he's teaming up with the hot girl. He's trying to play well. He's going to enjoy that a lot. And then you have like the great friend, okay, or maybe the best friend. You guys know each other very well. You know what to expect from each other as partners. You're going to be excited when you guys make a shot. And if one of you don't make a shot, one of you guys are sucking, you're definitely going to give them it. You know, you're not going to ignore that. You're going to tend to play a little bit better. You guys know what to expect from each other. And eventually you're going to start draining shots. If you guys are playing well, you know, it's really tough to beat you guys. That hot girl team might be able to steal one or two from you, but they're not going to win a series. If it's a 7-game series, the great friend group is typically going to win out a little bit more. You know, kind of group number 3 or tier number 3 would be the casual friend. Okay, he's a guy that you're friends with, not great friends with. He's at the party. You're at the party. You're both just kind of wanting to play some beer pong. You're like, all right, why not? Let's play. Doesn't typically work out too well because why is he your casual friend? Because he sucks at beer pong. Okay, he's not good. This is Jordan Spieth teaming up with Smiley Kaufman. I'm sorry, Smiley. I did not mean that. They're good friends. That is a bad example. They are good friends there. Geez. I'm sorry, Smiley. But really, all in all, it's like you're not as mentally geared up. There's not as much accountability. You guys are just kind of happy to be playing. You might be able to win a game or two in a series of beer pong, but you're not going to win the full series. It's not going to be all that pretty. Yeah, sure, you might play good enough as a whole, but most likely or not, you're not going to play well. And then there is the random. Okay, how does this player get selected? How does this random get on your team? Maybe mutual respect. You've been eyeing his game. He's playing well. You're like, I can win with that guy. I want to run the table. I'm going to team up with that guy. You know, that could work. That could work, but all in all, he's a random. So, like, there's no chemistry there. And maybe, just right off the bat, you guys are both firing. It's fun. You're making a bunch of shots. You're talking crap to the other team. It's good stuff there. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be a long-term success thing. It might be good in golf sense for 3 out of 4 rounds, but as a whole, it is not going to be the best thing for you. Yeah. You know, that's the beer pong example. I thought that was pretty good. And kind of, I think you guys get what I was trying to get at there. The hot girl, you have that one kind of bad player teaming up with a really good player. I kind of mentioned Ryan Palmer as an example there. You got the great friends. You got Xander, Patrick Cantlay teaming up. You know, it should work out. They're both elite golfers. That makes a lot of sense. You got a lot of the casual friends teaming up. I'm not really sure, but I feel like that's Billy Horschel and Sam Burns. You know, those are both really good golfers, and I expect them to play well, but, you know, you never know. And then you kind of got just like the random pairings as well. I don't really have a great example for that because I don't want to say someone's a random pairing and then someone in the comments be like, well, you didn't know this. This guy played high school golf 30 minutes away from that. Like, whatever. I'm not too worried about that. Those guys are not going to be great plays for the most part. But I did think that was a fun way of comparing it. And I'm curious. I was going to use Beggs as an example, but then I realized a lot of people that aren't like from Wisconsin or the Midwest might not even know what Beggs is. They might call it like a different name. And I'm curious, if you guys don't know what Beggs is, or you call it a different name, let me know what it is in the comment section, because I know there's some people from Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota listening to this that are going to call it a different name. And I'm just kind of curious because there's like 4 different names that people call it. So just kind of curious. I thought Beggs would have been a fun one as well. Same dynamic as well. But just getting to the recap last week real quick before we get into the breakdown of this week. Talking about the Masters hangover, okay? That was kind of a narrative last week, and it actually ended up being really true this week. You look at the top, like 1 through 15 players in the 9-to-5 mile, and this echoes the salary as well, so it's not like the mile did poorly, but 3 missed cuts. You know, not terrible, but not good, but only 2 top 10s, which is crazy. You got Patrick Cantlay, Shane Lowry. That speaks volumes to the week that was there, okay? Talking about... on the flip side, we look at the 16 through 30th ranked players, you know, pretty good plays, typically your cash range, and that actually echoes how we did in cash, but 1 win with Jordan Spieth, you know, not in the best recent form, okay staff fit, course history could have been a little bit better. He ended up winning, but then we look at, on the flip side of that, we had 5 players finish inside the top 3, inside of that 16 to 30 ranking. I feel like that sums it up pretty well. Look at Seb Straka, Tommy Fleetwood, EVR, you know, kind of just tells us the week that it was there pretty well. And those were some players that were pretty underpriced. So overall, there was a path to some really good success GPP wise, but for like the 6th straight week, it's been an easy week in cash. And I say easy in quotes because a little bit of a sweat, but only one player missed the cut for the cash plays for 9 to 5. That was Matthew Fitzpatrick. Sample build cash, which was awesome. But the last 6 weeks, sample build has cash. It's the GPP, kind of the high-end players being the letdown, which is really annoying because that means the low-end players have really been picking us up. I'm talking about Joel Damon, who's a value player that I like. Matthew Naismith, you could have ended up on. Seb Straka was a player that we were going out of our way to play, especially in cash, especially in the main build. That is starting to get annoying. Matt Kuchar stepped up. That is starting to get annoying, and eventually it's going to correct itself. But the last 6 weeks have kind of been annoying in that sense, in which if the high-tier player just does what they're supposed to do, massive wins there. So eventually that's going to correct itself, and hopefully it does soon, because when it does, it's going to be exciting. But let's get into the Zurich Classic picks, guys. I'm excited. Oh, did you guys like that new intro? I thought it was pretty quick, fast. I think you guys will like it. All right, I'm actually going to be highlighting only the top 8 teams for this week, and then we're going to begin out of there. Going to make this a quick video for you guys. All right, guys, so let's get into the picks for this week. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be highlighting the top 8 plays this week. And by top 8 plays, I mean these are the plays that actually stand out the most to me. Once again, we're going to be focusing on each player individually, but also as a group. And that's how I'm going to establish these picks for you guys. I do want to start off with the top ranking team in the 9 to 5 mile. It's going to be Patrick Hanley and Xander Schauffele. So I was a little bit shocked that they're standing out as the top pick in the 9 to 5 mile, but I think that's just due to the strong course history from the group. Now, Patrick Hanley missed the cut here 2 years ago, or in 2019. They didn't have this tournament in 2020, just so you guys know. So the course history that we're going off of is 2021, 2019, 2018, and then 2017. Obviously, the 2017 one, we don't have to worry about as much. But looking at it, this group had 11th place finish last year, which actually, if they do that again at this price point, wouldn't be enough. Okay, we want a little bit more out of that. We definitely would want a top 5 finish out of them. So they're going to need to do a little bit more than that. They were a little bit of a disappointment last year, which kind of echoes what they've been like this season. They've been very disappointing. Patrick Hanley last week probably should have won. Jordan Spieth really backdoored into a victory. Patrick Hanley, I don't want to say Patrick Hanley let him win because Patrick Hanley had a good round, but Shane Lowry, I don't even want to touch it. That's still painful. The double bogey on a par 3 and complete control of the tournament, that was brutal. That was worse than Beau Hossler's. I don't know if that's true. Beau Hossler was under 51, scored a bunker shot on a par 5 into the woods, 50 yards. That one still, that one will get me for a while. But Shane Lowry kind of handed it to Jordan. Seb Straka, I mean, what are you doing going for the win on 18? Like, play for par there. That was weird. Anyways, Patrick Hanley has now lost 2 playoffs this year to Scottie Scheffler and Jordan Spieth now, both of which he probably should have won. Okay, like if we were looking at it, he would have been the favorite to win in that given circumstance. Regardless of this, though, top 5 specialist, top 10 stat fit, second best recent form. Top pick. He was actually the top pick in the model this week, but when you combine it, or he was the second best pick, when you combine it with Xander, who finished 11th 2 prior years, last year with Patrick Hanley, and then another year, that's pretty good. Xander is a top 20 specialist, ranking 17th, 15th, or 14th best stat fit, 6th best course history, 14th best recent form. So Xander really needs to step up, and that's kind of why I like this group, because it kind of just seems like everything's coming together for them. They're Cali boys. They're just kind of due for a win. Let's just put it that way. They've both been around taking down a tournament, and they just need to figure it out. And maybe they do that together, and that's kind of why I like the narrative there. And as you guys can see, going into the next group in here, it's going to be Sergio Garcia and Tommy Fleetwood for me. Yes, so the groupings, obviously ranking them out as a group, as a team. This is the second best group, but really they would rank out as the third best in the model because that's how we're doing it. Whatever. Second best grouping here, Tommy Fleetwood and Sergio Garcia. They finished second here in 2019. Tommy Fleetwood actually finished 4th the year prior to that, where Sergio missed the cut. Sergio's like, I got to get with that Tommy Fleetwood boy. He went with that the casual or the rando approach, and now he's more of a friend, I would say, a casual friend there. Approach there if we're still looking at the BP side. But looking at Tommy Fleetwood, 7th best specialist in the field, 5th best stat rank in the field. And we can see kind of just looking at it, really just strong across the board in those key stats that we're looking at this week. Finished 10th last week, 14th the week before that, 35th the week before that, 6th the week before that. He's made 6 straight cuts in a row. No surprise that he's ranking out top 10 in recent form rank. He's actually the second best in course history here. And I think that his game just complements a lot of players, and that's probably why he's played well. Sergio has played well in this event in the past. Obviously, the second place finish in 2019. That's pretty strong there. He's made 7 straight cuts in a row. He's been playing good enough as well. Pretty decent. He's actually in the 8th best recent form out of anyone in the field. A little bit shocking there, but I really like this team, especially at that price point. That's going to be a really good price point for me this week. One thing that shocked me, though, was the pricing of kind of Scottie Scheffler and Ryan Palmer. Sure, Ryan Palmer has not been playing well as of recent. We can see that. It's just not that good of recent form for him. Need much better finishes out of him. But if he can just casually play good enough like he has for most of the season, that should be enough to get another top 5 finish. He's finished 7th, 1st, miscut, and 5th. Okay, that's really good. Obviously, Scottie Scheffler, the best golfer on the PGA Tour right now, best specialist in the field, which I really want to point out, that's going to help this week because we're looking at alternative field events, which is huge. Longer tracks, a little bit windier, Pete Dye course designs. He's checking all the boxes with that. 3rd best staff in the field, 3rd best course history in the field, and 1st best recent form. Overall, this group ranks out really well. And if Ryan Palmer can play good enough, which I think he will, this is going to be a great group. And it's a discounted price. You could easily go this group and then with Tommy Fleetwood and feel really good about it. Okay, that is an approach that I really like. I was a little bit shocked that Billy Horschel and Sam Burns were actually priced up this high. I get it. They are a really strong group. They finished 4th last year together. Billy Horschel won this event in 2018, and he also won it as an individual. Sam Burns has won on the PGA Tour twice this year. Okay, that'd be crazy. He get his 3rd victory on the PGA Tour this week. And, with Billy Horschel, he's been knocking on the door for quite a bit here. Okay, he is eventually going to break through and get that W. And maybe you just need Sam Burns to do that. I could honestly see that, looking at Billy Horschel, 3rd best specialist in the field, 4th best staff in the field, course history rank, he's getting knocked a little bit for that cut in miscut in 2017, whatever. 6th best recent form out of anyone in the field. Sam Burns, recent form has been a little bit hit or miss, but we've seen that upside from him. I mentioned, already won twice on tour. We see that 9th place finish in his 4th start prior to this event. 12th best specialist in the field, 13th best staff in the field. This group really has a strong chance to go out and do what they did last year and possibly even go out and win. So I also do really like that group as well. Now we're going to touch on some other groups here. I'm going to sort it by salary real quick. So we have to get a little bit lower for this group. The Ireland boys, we got Northern Ireland, Graham McDowell, and Ireland boy, Seamus Power. So Seamus Power has finished 7th, 10th, and MC at this event. Okay, that's pretty good. We look at Graham McDowell, 23rd, 21st, and 22nd. The thing about Graham McDowell is most of those years he just wasn't a good play. Hadn't been playing that well. I think it was 2019 where he's actually in some pretty good form coming into the event. But other than that, just not that good of a play prior to that. What I like about him as a pick is that he has had some decent finishes recently. He's been showing some upside recently. So all in all, his miscuts haven't been terrible, and his made cuts, I guess, have been top 25 finishes, which I like to see. That's really good. And then look at Seamus Power. Sure, he had a little bit of a dry spell in there where he wasn't playing all the best, but for the most part, been playing much better as of recent. I like that. So 27th, 5th, 31st. Really shocking to see him play well at the Dell Match Play Tournament. We talked about that little dry spell at the API. The Genesis kind of struggled there, but prior to that, 9th, 14th, 3rd, 15th, 4th, really strong there from Seamus Power. Overall, Seamus Power is kind of checking all the boxes. 35th in course history rank. That's fine, but top 30 or better in specialist rating, course history, staff hit, and recent form. So overall, I do like Seamus Power as a whole, and then pairing him up with Graham McDowell, who is good enough. I really don't mind that approach. This grouping at this price point is a little bit high, and that's kind of the worry. If they were, I don't want to say $1,000 cheaper, but I feel like they should at least be $500 cheaper. They probably shouldn't be in the 8K range, and if they weren't, I would be going, that's probably why they're not. But if they weren't, I'd be hammering them. Right now, we kind of have to think about that. And kind of the theme this year is that, I guess, properly priced winners has been the theme. Like Jordan Spieth last week, properly priced. He was priced in this way that you really weren't going out of your way to play him. Sure, if you love Jordan Spieth, you might have ended up on him, but there's better options, more logical options in that price point range. Scottie Scheffler, highest priced player in the slate for the Masters, not really going out of your way to play him. JJ Spawn with the winner, 51st best player in the 9 to 5 mile, a guy you'd be targeting at his price point that week, but not really going out of your way to hammer him into your build. That's kind of been the theme this year. And so with that, properly priced, not really standing out too much. Seamus Power, Gray, and McDowell, could they go on and win? And like, it wouldn't be like shocking, but it wouldn't be like expected, which has been the theme. That would be them. So, I could see that from them. It wouldn't be the craziest thing ever. I do want to talk about Kevin Kisner and Scott Brown here because they are priced down a decent amount and they just missed the cut last year. Besides that, the course history have been good. 4th, 15th, 3rd out of that grouping. I mean, that is spectacular. They played well in different events together. They're in pretty decent recent form as a group. We can see Scott Brown has now made the cut in his last 3 starts on the PGA Tour. He's been playing much better as of recent. Sure, his recent form rank doesn't rank out well in the field this week, but you pair that with Kevin Kisner, who's just kind of casually just a good golfer. We know that just casually a good golfer. We'll take that. Prior to his missed cut last week, 44th, 2nd, 33rd, good stuff there. This group as a whole at this price point kind of stood out to me. And this is where I didn't really get why Seamus Power and Graham McDowell were priced up as much as they were when you compare it to this group, because it's kind of the same play. So this group I do like a little bit more, just given the price point. It does make a little bit more sense there. Now we're going to get into some deep dives, guys. I got 3 decent value groups that you can go with. And there's a lot of okay, logical options you can go with. I don't really want to give you guys that. Sure, Nick Watney and Charlie Hoffman are a group together. Strong course history. Charlie Hoffman didn't carry the group every year. So, you could go with them. That's fine. I wouldn't mind that. But I do want to point out Scott Piercy and Sean O'Hare. For those of you guys that don't know, Sean O'Hare has casually been popping stat-wise for a little bit here. Made the cut, the Corrales, he could have done better. That was unfortunate, actually. Missed the cut, the API. Played well at the Arnold Palmer, played well at the Bermuda, Fortinet Championship, fine. Barracuda Championship, fine. He has had some good finishes in there. You look at the 25th place finish here in 2018. We like that. Scott Piercy, missed cut here last year, 11th and 1st the year before that. We look at 2 golfers that are just going to play good enough golf to potentially make the cut. I don't mind it. Scott Piercy finished 12th in the last week, I believe it was. Well, in his last start, we'll pull that up here real quick. So, yeah, he finished 12th in his last start. We like that from Scott Piercy. We'll take that from Scott Piercy. It is a little bit of a worry, though, that he hasn't been the best recent form. But given the price point, I do think it's going to be worth the risk. These are 2 golfers that are just good enough across the board. They're probably not going to hurt themselves too much. And obviously, with the value play, all you want them to do is make the cut. And I think they give us a decent chance to do that at 6.9. Probably won't hurt you that much if they miss the cut as well. So going lower here. Oh, where is it? I got to type him in. So I'm going to type in Tyler Duncan here, guys. So Tyler Duncan is going to be paired up with Adam Schenk, and it's kind of for the same reason. I mean, these 2 golfers are very strong golfers across the board. Just good enough plays across the board as a whole. Tyler Duncan has just been playing some quality golf for really this whole season. Besides his 1 start there and his recent form 2 there. Let's see what tournament that was. It just wasn't a good start. Prior to that, just been playing some great golf, which we do like to see from him. This group has went 11th, miscut, and 7th. And really pretty good plays as a whole. I mean, Adam Schenk has not been playing as well as he had been in years prior leading up to this event. They are priced up a decent amount, so there is some risk there. But I love the course history. It does seem like they have some chemistry together. Just a group that I don't mind given their price, but I do wish that they were a little bit cheaper because that would make them a lot more easier to use as a group as a whole. I actually did mention the other group that I was going to say. Scotty Scheffler and Ryan Palmer do make a lot of sense. I'm fine with that. Victor Hovland, I'm fine with, Victor Hovland, Colin Morikawa. That makes a lot of sense. The grouping side of it is tough. It does make for the lineup process to be much more difficult. Let's see if we can make any sort of build for you guys. I think it's going to be tough, okay? This is going to be the part that takes the most time this week is going to be making quality builds in general. So let's start with Tommy Fleetwood and Scotty Scheffler. Typically, my weirdness, I like to click on the better golfer in the group. That's up to you guys what you do there, but I don't know. For some reason, I always favor that. I just don't think we're going to be able to fit Seamus Power and Gray McDowell into it. So let's go lower. Let's go with the Kisner and I do want to say Troy Merritt and Robert Strub I do like as a group as well. They're priced up a little bit too much, but it won't be shocking to see them play well. Kevin Kistner, Scott Brown, we'll put them in there. Let's see here. I do kind of want to do the Tyler Duncan group. Okay, so we got 4 groups selected. Let's see where we can go from there. Let's go with that value group. Scott Piercy. Oh, God, that's ugly. I apologize, guys. That's really ugly. And now we have a lot of salary left over, though. Let's see. Billy Horschel. Nope, too much. Let's see here. Yeah, all these groups in this range, like, they're just kind of priced right. Like, not big movers for me. All right, so we can go up from the Scott Piercy group to a better grouping. So let's move up. A decent amount of salary left over. Bryce Garnett, I don't hate. I don't hate his grouping. I kind of expect him to make the cut. I'm fine with that if you guys roll with that. Lucas Glover, kind of expect him to make the cut. You know, it's not terrible. You could roll with that. That's all right. That's good enough. Don't hate that. I wish it was a little bit better. You know what? I can't fit him. I would love to go with this. Because I just like Troy Merritt. You guys know that. We could go down from Tyler Duncan to go to Scott Piercy. But guys, this is the tough part right here. The lineup process this week is going to be key. Like, I think in 4 out of 6 across the cut line grouping wise is gonna be a good thing for you. But that is all I have for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you guys have a good week. I do apologize that this video came out a little bit later than it typically does. I've been hammering through lots of data. Lots of data the past week or so, really the past month, but yesterday I had a big deep dive with the data. Just kind of doing checks and balances of the 9-to-5 model, making sure it's accurate, which it is. It's really accurate. Love to see that. And then just looking at like the round by round stuff, the betting picks and whatnot. So like the betting picks, I've started to implement that into the website, and it's like, why not track that? Last week, 3 out of the 5 won their matchup, which is great. The Masters, it was like 70% won, with Xander Schauffele being the worst one out of the grouping. The Dell Match Play tournament, it was like 54% of them won, which was okay. And that was just in general, like not 54% in general. It was like, I think 42, I would have to double check, like 42% of them won their grouping, which was really strong, obviously. But it's just like, I'm just tracking all of that now to be, you know, it's just more fun and gonna be interesting. Like, I want to look at tee times. I want to look at groupings. Like, do certain golfers make other golfers play worse? Like, does Patrick Reed make other golfers play worse? That's something I want to track, and I'm going to start doing that stuff and then getting it out to you guys, and I think it'll be fun. One thing I noticed in the past, like, really 3 weeks of tracking it, is that the ownership across the industry has been really strange, and I've said this verbally without even looking at the data, but the ownership has been really strange. Adam Hadwin last week is a perfect example of that. Fine play, good play as a whole. There were a ton of better options, and we saw them go off. EVR, Seb Straka go off. Troy Merritt, another one that was a little bit better pick. Cameron Smith, a little bit better pick, go off and finish better than Adam Hadwin. But Adam Hadwin was chalk for, I really don't know why he was chalk. It was just strange. The ownership of the, I don't know, industry, I guess, if you will, has been much worse than the ownership leverage tool. So like, if you were to rank out the top owned players in ownership, then compare them against the ownership leverage rank, the ownership leverage has been like 22% better, which is insane. I'm talking about like the top 30 plays. Okay. And then there's a little bit more upside as well if you just look at like the top 5 and whatnot. Jordan Spieth ranked out decently. Scottie Scheffler was like 3rd at the Masters. You know, that stuff all adds up. So that's kind of why I'm doing that. I'm excited to start to get that out to you guys. I don't know when I'm going to release it. It might just be like a weekly stat thing that I post on Twitter, or it might just be on a tool. I'm still trying to figure out how to implement that, but I'm just glad I have it. All right, but that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let's have a good Zurich Classic. have a fun Zurich Classic. Don't go too crazy with it. This is a control week. It's a fun week. Enjoy it. It's kind of like the Dell Match Play tournament. Don't go too crazy with it. Enjoy it. It's supposed to be fun. Have fun with it. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. And as always, let's keep cashing.